Hey Russ, so I'm going to attempt to give a quick little instructional video on how to adjust derailleurs. So this one is going to be for the front derailleur, and I'm doing this on my old 10-speed, which does not have indexed shifting. And index basically means when you move the lever, it clicks into each spot. I don't think any of your bikes have that on the front derailleur, where I think most of them do on the rear derailleur. So that's where this might get a little bit trickier. But for the front derailleur, we're fine. So the first thing to do is put the chain in the lowest gear, which is, the lowest gear is the chain ring that's closest to the frame. That's the same as on the back, even though the cogs that are closest to the frame are bigger. They're still the lower gear, the easier gears to pedal in. So, start it. If it's in the high gear, the big chain ring here. Shift it so it goes down to the lower chain ring. This one only has 2 chain rings. I think yours have 3. So then once you do that, take it's either a hex nut or an Allen nut bolt, and just loosen the fix set screw that holds the cable on. So just loosen that up so that it just kind of dangles loose, and you can kind of move it back and forth, and it just goes freely there. So it should be in the bottom chain ring like that. And so once you have that done, then what you can do is adjust the set screws to make sure it's going down far enough. So usually there's a little H or an L, and sometimes you just have to look at it. But if you can move it and see the derailleur moving, then you're definitely on the right one. And you can see on this, if I screw it in a little bit further, you can see it push out, and then if you screw it the other way, it goes down. And eventually it'll bottom out, just hitting the frame. Also, one thing to keep in mind is to typically have, it's New York City, have the plane of the derailleur parallel with the plane of the chain ring. And you can adjust that by adjusting usually the set screw and just rotating it on the down tube. So once that's done, also you want to make sure that the bottom edge of the derailleur sits above the top edge of the chain ring teeth. And I think they say about 1/8 of an inch, which is kind of a good starting point. So back to setting the set screws. First thing you want to do is set the bottom side, make sure it's going down far enough, which is the most important one. So you also want to put in the back, put your rear derailleur, adjust it so it's hitting, the chain is on the cog closest, furthest inside. And what that does is it means you can look at this and adjust this, so you don't want the inside plate rubbing the chain when you're pedaling. So if I adjust this incorrectly and have it sort of pushed out, and you can see it coming out as I screw it in there, you can hear it sort of periodically rub. So you kind of just want to adjust it out just enough so that it's not doing that. And at that point, go back, reattach your cable to the derailleur, and make sure that the lever is all the way in the position, because if you pull, so that there's the most amount of cable sticking out, because if you have the lever in the wrong spot, you set it, then you're going to pull the lever, nothing's going to happen. So you want to have it so once you attach this, the derailleur moves. So reattach this like so, like this. Sorry, my hands are in the way. And then to test that, after you've done that, leave it in that gear and pull the derailleur up. Oops, start this over. Pull the derailleur up, which it's kind of difficult to do. Ugh. Let's see, what we got going on here is I have a really short chain, and basically it's just big chain ring. The big chain ring is maxing out, so I'm going to undo this. which this is always a messy affair. You gotta just shift it back up there. So put it down in a slightly lower gear in the back if you run into that problem, but you shouldn't. And just see that it goes up and down. Oh, and now you can see we're having a top adjustment, which we'll get to. On the bottom adjustment, you can see it goes down fine, goes up fine, goes down fine, goes up fine. But what will have happened if you didn't... Oops, let me put it back up into the chainring, the top chainring. And again, just I'm going to misadjust this set screw. I'm going to just screw it too far in. You can see if I go to shift down, nothing happens, nothing happens. So you can almost just leave the lever all the way down as if you're trying to downshift it, and pedal, and just slowly let that set screw out, and it'll eventually click down. And you don't want to go too far, because that would mean the chain would fall off the chain ring and down into there. So you got to play. Okay, so now let's deal with the top one, because you can see we have a problem with that. So just like setting the bottom one, we want to put it into the biggest chain ring in the back. So now let's put it in the cog in the rear, put it towards the outside of the frame, so it's the highest gear, and then shift up here. And then you can see it went up fine. And you know, with old bikes it gets a little funky like that, because sometimes that happens, which you don't like, which means the chain ring is coming too far out. So let's just set this screw in. Let's just set the screw in a little bit and see what happens. So shift down, shift up. You can see it still almost wants to pop off of there. Let's screw it in a little bit further. Now this is what happens with old bikes. Because it's also an old system, it's rubbing. You can hear the chain rubbing on that chain ring. But if we shift it out, adjust the set screw a little bit further, it wants to pop off that. So sometimes you got to kind of split the difference, or just be a little delicate with it when you're shifting. But hopefully this gives you the kind of general idea of what to do. You can see, and chain rings typically, they never run true this way. They always have a little bit of a back and forth, depending upon, you know, the quality of them or the age of them, because you just have all these different parallel surfaces that are sometimes difficult to machine out properly. So don't be alarmed by that. You see it? So it's a little funny, but I mean, for a 30-year-old bike, we're gonna call it good. And I'm actually gonna adjust this out a little bit because it's a little hesitant coming down. You can see what's going on there. Oh, and it comes off, but we're gonna live with it. So hope that helps. Bye.